In today's video, we're going to be going over how to prepare and what to be doing during Q4 to make the most amount of money possible as an organic dropshipper. And the reason I'm making this video is because over the last 2-ish months, I've been getting message after message, question after question saying, Ethan, how do I prepare for Q4? Because Q4 is a really big deal, especially for us organic dropshippers. That's where the most money in the space is made. That's when the most lives are changed. And that's coming from experience because Q4 actually changed my life. In the year 2023, I ended up having a $169,000 month in the month of November, and that's because of Q4. Now, before that, of course, I already made the random 10K month here and there, the random 20K month, but actual life-changing money, almost $200,000 in a single month, $17,000 in a single day. I'll even throw up the screenshot. But I only say that just to show you how crazy Q4 gets. And I mean, it's pretty obvious the reason why, because spending, holidays, gifts, all this fun stuff, there's just a lot of money in circulation and a lot of people buying a lot of stuff. So that's why I'm making today's video. So you can be the most prepared possible and know what to do during Q4 to actually go out there and, not have to sit on the sidelines this year while you watch everybody else make 50K months, 100K, multiple six figures over the course of Q4. And you can actually go out there and make this ridiculous amount of money yourself. So now no more yapping for me. Let's get into the lesson. So today's lesson is going to be how to prepare for and what to do during Q4 to make the most amount of money possible. So really quick, just for those of you that don't understand the importance of Q4, if you already understand why Q4 is so hype and what it is, don't worry, I'm going to get through this really fast and then we're going to get into all the good stuff. But what is Q4? Q4 is the last 3 months of the year. So from October 1st to December 31st. Now, why is Q4 such a big deal? It's because the holidays, it's the season of, gifting and giving. You got Black Friday, Cyber Monday, and in general, there's just a lot of capital circulation among consumers at its peak, more than it would be any other time of the year because you have holiday bonuses, you have gifted money, you just have all these things happening where everybody actually has money to spend and they're wanting to spend it. Now, because of all of these things over here, everything 10Xs. Now, not actually to the T, like backed by data 10Xs. I'm just like, it's a little dramatic, but everything skyrockets. Everything will do better. Everything will perform better. Your videos, your views, your sales, your conversions on your website, your conversions per mil. Like it's as dramatic as some products during Q4 that normally never convert or convert at maybe 500 per mil will go out and start converting at a few thousand per mil because there's just such higher demand and such a larger population of people that are actually buying stuff from the internet than normal. Now, why is that? Why does it increase? How does all of everything I just explained affect us as organic dropshippers? Why does it make such a huge difference? Well, it's because everybody that normally aimlessly scrolls now unconsciously has that thought of they either have to buy stuff for others or they're thinking in their mind, what do I want as gift? What do I want others to buy for me? In the back of their mind all quarter. So this means that the same people that would normally just skip and not engage with product videos are now watching and engaging with these videos, which of course is going to lead to more engagement. So it's going to have a direct impact on your views, which of course as a byproduct means more sales. If you take all of that and everything I just explained and add in the fact that your product's already converting more sales per the amount of views because of how much likely a viewer is to buy in this psychological state, and you can see how this sort of makes everything 10X and skyrocket in terms of, sales, views, conversions, the whole 9 yards. Now, let's get into the fun stuff, which is the actual preparation for Q4 in terms of you yourself, what you should be doing, because I've been getting this question asked a lot. And I would say in general, there's nothing crazy or fancy that you have to do. You'll honestly kind of do pretty much everything similarly to what you would do all year round, except you need to understand the importance of what's happening and understand that you need to be more locked in than ever. So what this means is, no slacking, not randomly missing a day of posting. If there was ever a time that you were genuinely going to give organic dropshipping your all, it's got to be now. And the reason I say this is because even me in the position I'm in, throughout the year, I do have those days where I kind of, I'll slack off, or maybe one day where I know I'm supposed to post 3 videos, I'll only post 1. Maybe if I end up going out with friends and family, I miss posting for 1 product. All these just little things that kind of add up over time. These are mistakes you do not want to make at all during Q4, and there are no excuses. So let's get into the technical preparation, kind of what you should strive to have going on before we actually get into Q4. Now, really, it's going to be best if you have at least 3 products actively being ran going into Q4. In a perfect world, they're all already making sales. So at that point, everything is just gonna have this huge boost. So it's not like you're trying to get things up and running, or you're fumbling around trying to make something happen. If you go into Q4 with multiple stores already making sales, you're gonna be probably top 1% of earners of the people that make a shit ton of money during Q4, because everything's already laid out. Now you're just going to get that huge boost from Q4 from things that, from what you were already doing. Now, you want to have at least one primed IG, no matter how you go about it. Whether you buy a primed IG account, maybe even multiple, you niche growth them. Whatever it is, you need to try your hardest to have a primed IG going into Q4. Of course, multiple would be even better. But having at least one is easily going to allow you to make six figures. That's how powerful having a primed IG is in general, but add that in with Q4 and you will make life-changing money. So you want to have at least one primed IG. There are so many different methods now to get a primed IG, which I'll also leave linked down below. I have a video on the niche growth method for IG, which is at the moment the highest success rate possible to priming an IG. I'll leave that link down below so you guys can go watch that if you haven't seen that. But you should have nothing planned during Q4 besides living at the locked-in department. And that's kind of corny, but I mean it. Like, of course, outside of, the actual holidays with your family, like on Thanksgiving, go to Thanksgiving, hang out with your family. On Christmas, have Christmas, be normal, hang out with your family. But I say this because I know a lot of people try to plan like holiday trips and they do all these vacations and all this bullshit and they splurge. And they also, or another reason I brought this up is during Q4, if you go into it and you start making a lot of money, a lot of people like to kind of take their foot off the gas. They'll go and, they're getting that huge boost from Q4. They're making, like they'll have a 20K week or a 50K month. And then it'll be mid-November, mid-Q4, and they'll think, oh, I can chill now. Oh, I can skip that one video. Oh, let me go on vacation. Let me splurge and blow all my money. Do not do that. Save it for January. Save it for February. Stay locked in if you want to make the most amount of money possible for Q4. Now, let's go into the technicals during Q4. What should you be doing and what should be happening while Q4 is happening? So 3 products being ran at all times, bare minimum. 4 to 5 if you're genuinely locked in and you're doing this full time. Now, not 4 to 5 products that take you 3 hours a piece for each video, but really in general, I tell this to everybody, 3 products, no matter how you look at it, even if you have all the time in the world, 3 products is going to be most optimal. Almost anything outside of that is going to be too much for you. You're going to start lacking quality in all aspects of the business. 3 really is best. But let's say you're running 2 products that kind of are, let's say you have low, medium, and high in terms of how demanding the content is or how hard the content is. If you have 2 products that are at like a medium level where it's like the videos don't really take that long, they're not crazy effort and you can really pump them out, but then you had like 2 kind of showcasey products where it takes you like 5 minutes to record for, then that's kind of valid to run like 4 and 5 products. But 3 products, bare minimum during Q4 at all times. There's no reason on planet Earth you're not running at least 3 the entire time during Q4. Now, of course, the classic 2 to 3 videos per day per product, nothing less. You're posting it on all platforms. Now, this one right here is the biggest. You need to execute quickly. Q4 isn't the time to try and wait out a product. You want to give every process 10 to 14 days max. And what I mean by every process, I'm meaning accounts, video concepts, products, the whole 9 yards, any and every process that you would normally maybe try to, wait out a product, or you're like, oh, I have a lot of conviction in this product. Let me give it, I know you're supposed to wait like maybe 2 weeks before you cycle through, but what if I try to go for a month because, I have a lot of conviction in it. You don't want to make those plays during this time. It shoulda, coulda, woulda. Sure, it could happen, whatever, blah, blah, blah. You could, if you waited a month, it could pop off X, Y, and Z. But in terms of odds and statistics, your best bet is not trying to hang on to these things, especially if you don't have anything going on. And this is mainly for my guys that are going into Q4 with not a lot of stores, or you have no stores that are actively making money, no products that are actively ripping. You don't want to spend this ridiculous amount of time on these products or accounts. If you have an IG account that is not hitting and it's getting horrible views and you can't get it primed, after 10 to 14 days, you need to move on to the next account. If you have a product that you just picked up and you're testing and nothing's hitting, you've tried all these different concepts, X, Y, and Z, after 10 to 14 days, you drop that product and move on to the next one. Sure, that account could have hit 2 weeks later. Sure, that product could have hit, if you would have gave it 1 more week. But your odds of actually finding success or finding the account that hits or product that hits is going to be much higher when you're actually constantly, actively executing as fast as you possibly can and just moving on. You want to keep as much momentum as possible. So that's really the best piece of advice I could give during Q4. You need to execute quickly. No stalling, no hanging around, no trying to wait it out. Just do. Okay, so now let's get into content during Q4. So this is all things to do with Q4 content. In general, for your content, the basics, they're not going to change much. You're still going to be doing your basics, your 2 to 3 videos a day, all that fun stuff. Everything is going to stay pretty much normal. But the reason I made kind of an entire sort of portion of this lesson based on the content is to talk about seasonal content, because seasonal content is ridiculously underrated. If done correctly, it's a view glitch. Now, you're going to want to start incorporating seasonal content 2 to 3 weeks before or prior to the holiday. So really a good rule of thumb is starting to kind of implement and introduce seasonal content on your accounts for your products 2 to 3 weeks before that said holiday. So 2 to 3 weeks before Thanksgiving, 2 to 3 weeks before Halloween. Really, honestly, Christmas, you can I would start like mid-November, honestly, for Christmas, because as soon as November hits, everybody's already hyped about Christmas. So you can start Christmas even earlier, like 5 to 6 weeks before actual Christmas Day would be best. And you're going to start incorporating it. Now I'm going to get kind of more into the details, but you're going to incorporate seasonal content everywhere you can within, your hooks, your captions, the video concept itself, especially the sounds, which I'm going to get into. Now, like I said, if done correctly, seasonal content is going to be a straight up view glitch. If, just to kind of give you an example and just to kind of help you understand why, if you're using a Halloween or Christmas themed sound around that holiday, it's just naturally going to be trending more, because that is what's happening around the world, or at least, in America or your country's holiday. Of course, with it trending, that means videos with that sound and videos kind of with that overall vibe to it are going to be getting pushed out more and viewed more, which of course equals getting more views. Now, it's also great for hooks. I made that point about the sounds because sounds will probably dictate the most, especially like when it, like the jingle bell sounds, the remixes, the famous like Mariah Carey Christmas songs. These are all sounds you're going to be want to be using all the way leading up to Christmas on almost every video. I'm going to be honest. I mean, of course you can just test your regular schmegular, but you'll start to notice once we get into these holidays, majority of your videos that are going to be performing well are going to be seasonal. Now, it's also really good for hooks. You can take a banger hook that has already performed well for you, and instead of using whatever emoji you were using, you can just replace it with, let's say a pumpkin for Halloween or the Santa Claus emoji for Christmas. You can also construct entire hooks based off the holiday. Like, best Christmas gift for 2025, even though that's mid as hell, but just to give you an example. Or I messed up by getting this for my sister for Christmas, or X, Y, and Z. You get the gist. So really, you just want to try and incorporate the holiday or seasonal content however much you can in any way possible. And sometimes you can even go as far as incorporating it into the concept itself. So for example, what I mean by that is, let's say you do an unboxing concept, which there's a trillion different concepts you could use to incorporate seasonal content. But just for a quick example, you could do an unboxing concept where you actually wrap your product itself, put it in a box, wrap it, put it on top of all the Christmas presents under your Christmas tree. And then your visual hook is you going and grabbing it off of the other Christmas gifts, then, going and unboxing it, unwrapping it, etc., etc. Now, do not sleep on the seasonal content, because for a lot of people, during Q4, seasonal content is what carries their accounts, carries their products, and makes them the most views and sales. Now, I want to get into something very valuable and important. And this is going to be really, honestly, the most beneficial thing humanly possible that you could do during Q4 especially, which is kind of being involved in the space. So being in some sort of community, having some sort of education, being, like what I like to call being in the know. Because if you're not in some sort of Discord or community, you're basically kind of just left in the dark. And the reason it's so beneficial to be inside of these communities is because you're going to be constantly surrounded by other organic dropshippers and like-minded people. You're going to have quick access to so many resources and different things instead of waiting on your favorite YouTuber to drop, that one random video every 1 to 2 weeks. You're getting immediate answers and feedback from others, connections to teams and resources that are hard to find on your own, especially if you're in a good Discord like mine. The list goes on and on. Like I said, if you're not in some kind of community, you are at a massive disadvantage. That 169K month that I referred to in the beginning of this video, I was in a Discord. I don't think it would have been possible if I wasn't in a Discord, because I was learning information I would have never had if I was just watching YouTube videos. I was getting insights from others. Oh, this is working for this guy. Oh, okay, this is working for that guy. Oh, this guy just made this amount of money and he accidentally leaked his product. All the way down to sending in my videos and random products I was running into like the feedback chats and stuff of the Discord I was in, getting help from others to improve my content, which all these things combined 100% is the reason that I made that $169,000 a month. If not, I would have been left in the dust. I wouldn't have made as many good decisions as I did. Really, the list goes on and on. Now, of course, since I'm bringing up how valuable being inside of a community is, this is where I want to introduce the MMC and give you the opportunity to join the MMC, which is my organic dropshipping Discord. It's one of the best on the internet. It comes with everything and anything possible for you to be the most in the know and getting the best feedback, constant feedback possible to be ripping during Q4. I listed out all the benefits right here: the VIP community chats, the weekly calls with me personally, 1 to 2 calls where I'm constantly like reviewing accounts, reviewing products, telling you what to do, what not to do, et cetera, et cetera. The opportunities channel, that's, kind of irrelevant, but you can get hired or hire somebody else, whether you're hiring creators, you need a website developer, whatever the case may be. You get access to me. I'm also very active in there. The A to C organic dropshipping course that we're now constantly updating, case studies, which is just more insight into the space, feedback channel where you're going to be getting help from me and other advanced organic dropshippers that are inside the Discord, real winning products that we're throwing in there. Not that, random dookie you get from these other Discords where they just throw random shit in there. Actual real winning products where 9 times out of 10, you can pick one from that channel and actually go make money from it, and they actually convert. Content hooks that I'm constantly updating, winning hooks that you can go and use on your own videos, connections to my personal private suppliers, good accounts / content examples for you to also use on your own accounts, organic FAQs, so literally every answer you'd ever need about anything with organic dropshipping. Affordable website creation. You can also hire my own personal website developer, customer support reps for your stores, also my own personal team that I use within my business, product research VA, an email marketing specialist. All my teams and resources that I use for my own business, you'll get access to on top of everything else I just named off. So if you're interested in getting all these things I just named off and being in a really high quality Discord, especially during Q4, I'll leave a link down below in the description for you to be able to join. Now, moving on to honestly, kind of just as important as being inside of a community, this is going to be connecting with a team or building your own team, which, speaking of teams, like I kind of just named off in the Discord, you don't even have to worry about this if you're inside the MMC's VIP, because you get all of my teams, you get all of my connections and resources possible. So you wouldn't have to worry about, finding any of this on your own. So the reason I have this here and the reason it's so important is because you don't want to find yourself scaling like crazy or getting a new product to pop off and not being prepared for the worst case scenario, or not having your ducks in a row and you're trying to go and find a random supplier, you can't get the product sourced, and once again, you're just left in the dark. You don't want to be in that position. So moving into Q4, especially during Q4, you're going to want at least 2 different supplier connections. The more, the better. Reason being for that is because you could have one supplier that can't source a product, another supplier that can. You can have one supplier that can handle the amount of orders you're getting, one supplier that can't. You're going to have one supplier that, maybe could give you a ridiculously better price on your cost of goods. So then you're making even more money. You have even higher profit. So the more connections to suppliers, the better. A product research VA, this is a time saver. This is a little bit more for the advanced guys, but I also every now and again will use a product research VA. A product research VA, a lot of people think, oh, that's to find you winning products. That's not what a product research VA is, or at least not what I use it for. I use it just for time saving. I use it just so I don't have to spend the hours of scrolling. So I can just get, sent a list of 20 to 30 products that I can then go and sift through and say, and using my own actual product knowledge to pick my product. So it's really just a big time saver. Now, customer support reps. This is one of the most valuable in Q4, not only because the more orders, the more customer inquiries you're gonna have, but with all these orders during Q4 are gonna be gifts for others or somebody buying something for somebody else, you're gonna have a lot more impatient customers. So during Q4, you're gonna have the most amount of emails and customer inquiries possible. So you're gonna wanna, email support team to be able to handle all these people that are going to be reaching out. And it really turns into a headache if you're doing it all on your own, responding to emails. That's honestly one of the first things you kind of want to get off your plate. And that's one of the best investments you can make as an organic dropshipper, is getting customer support reps. Next is a website developer. Not a must. I know a lot of you can't afford at the moment to, constantly be hiring somebody for a website. And some of you just want to be good at building websites. But once you get to a certain point, it's kind of the same thing as product research VA. It's just to save time and headache, right? Like, why would I sit there and spend 4 hours of my own time when I could, pay somebody $150, $200, my own, personal guy who I constantly use for all my stores, where I know the quality is going to be great and he can bang one out in a few hours, and then boom. It's super beneficial, especially if you're ripping, you're getting multiple products to hit, you have a lot going on, multiple stores within your organic dropshipping business, you want a personal website dev. Lastly, this is really mainly only if you're already making money and it's around that 10K a month mark, you're going to want an email marketing specialist, somebody to do emails for you. And the reason I say around that 10K mark is because it's not going to be that beneficial before 10K, but after you're making at least 10K a month, that amount of money coming in means a very large kind of email list is in the midst of getting created. And around 10K a month, that's when you'll actually start profiting off of your emails being done for you. And around 10K a month, whatever you end up spending towards email marketing, you're going to make more of that back through the email marketing. So it's basically free money. So really anything after 10K a month, you're going to want to get an email marketing specialist into your store and running emails for you. Now, like I said, if you don't want to deal with the hassle and the struggle of trying to find all these on your own, you can get access to all of these inside the VIP portion of the Money Making Committee. Now, as a bonus, I wanted to include this because it's not the craziest thing in the world, but you'll definitely want to do it. It's going to be beneficial regardless of how you put it. But you're going to want to be sure to constantly keep your offer, your accounts, and website correlated to the correct holiday. So for example, leading up to Black Friday, your accounts bios, your store's banners, whatever sales you have going on, anything related to when you talk about your offer, all the way to posting an IG story and saying, click here to buy, blah, 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 et cetera, whatever, you're going to want to say something about Black Friday. So your accounts bios should go from, 30% off sale ending soon to 30% off Black Friday sale happening now. And you would do that and correlate that to every holiday. That's going to be, the banner on your website, any wordage of sales on your website, your offer, accounts bios, anywhere and everywhere you can include a sale that you'll want to correlate it to the holiday. Now, you're going to want to be sure that you do this for everything. Halloween, Christmas, Black Friday, Cyber Monday, Thanksgiving, anything and everything. And the biggest reason this helps, not only because it's more top of mind and people are going to be expecting it anyways, especially something like Black Friday, but it really helps the sale seem more authentic. So the actual sale itself is going to be much more powerful than every other time of the year where you're just like, hey, we have a 40% off sale happening right now that you probably don't even believe because it's not even really actually a 40% off sale. It just makes it seem a lot more authentic. So that's going to wrap us up on how to prepare and what to do during Q4 to make the most amount of money possible as an organic dropshipper. If you have any questions on anything I went over or maybe something I missed that you want answered, leave a comment down below on this video and I try to respond to as many comments as possible. Also, like I said, I'm going to leave the Money Making Committee link down below in the description for you to join. But that's all I have for you guys today. I'm super pumped for Q4. It's coming in like a month, maybe a month and a half, but it's good to start preparing now, and that's why I made this video. But don't forget to, like, subscribe, comment, all that fun stuff, and I will see you guys on the next one.